Hey, what's up guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you a different video for the channel. This is my talk about the NU Premier League and talking about the viability rankings of Black and White NU. Maybe give you guys a little bit of a history lesson about what the tier is, what the mons are in the tier, what I think is good, and why the tier is what it is. And then after this video, so I'm going to do this video talk about all the mons in the viability rankings, at least all the ones in S, A, and probably B. The C tier ones I might glimpse over a couple of them, we'll see, but I'll talk about that, and then the next couple of videos I'll talk about and showcase the battles that I had for this tournament. It's probably the most prestigious NU tournament out there. It's ran every year. It highlights all the old generation NUs from ADV, so Generation 3, up until the current generation. It's a team format, so there's ADV, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, Gen 7, and then 3 Gen 8. So that's 8 games in total every week for the team. And teams consisted of probably 10 to 14, 15 players or so. And I was slated to start for my team, the Musharnas, which I was on last year. Before last year, I didn't play in NUPL for a couple of years. I played in the very first one, probably back 2013, 2014, which is it's crazy that all that time has gone by. And I think Gen 6, I might have up until NUPL 6. And then I don't think I played in 7 and 8 and played in 9 and 10. Or maybe I didn't play in 6, 7, 8 and played in 9 and 10. But I played in my fair share of the tournament for sure. But yeah, why Black and White NU? Well, that was when I joined Smogon, so it makes sense there. But I really like the tier. Now we'll go over the mons there, but a couple things that are highlighted. Maybe I'll go through them all as I touch on different mons. What's different from the Black and White metagame that's different than mechanics in Generation 8. Honestly, I don't know too much about Generation 8 NU outside of the games that I saw this season of NUPL from my teammates, which was a lot of fun. And I don't know about a ton of the other tiers. I played in ORS for at least the X and Y format. I didn't really play in ORS metagame. I think I did a couple suspect tests for Gen 6. Gen 3 I know a little bit about. That's a really fun meta as well, but I'm known for playing Black and White. So anyway, we'll look at what the tier list is. And interesting thing of note, we actually made a decent amount of changes to the tier list here. And I was on the council to decide how many people are on the council. I have the what my rankings are on the side screen here. There are 9 people that voted on re-ranking every mon and seeing where different things slotted in and such. So we can talk about the S tier, which they're mons that they're pretty good. They're good. If you have them on a team, you're really not going to be in that big of a worry. There might be some team archetypes where some of the mons don't make sense, but they're going to fit pretty well. And the first one we see here is Alomomola, which I did vote as an S-ring Pokemon. You guys know what Alomomola does in the current metagame. Actually, I don't think it isn't in. I have no idea, honestly. Let's see, Generation 8. It isn't. Okay, that's good to know. And I should know some of this stuff at least from draft, but Alomomola, I know it was in maybe even UU in Generation 7 or something. It's definitely tiered a lot higher. It's kind of weird that it fell to NU and stayed there the whole generation, but it just passes wishes. Super bulky, 165 HP. Now Alomomola, I think got better. I'm also not going to talk about what I think the meta trends are going to be after the tournament and such, because maybe some mons would have gone up and down the ranks and such. But I'm not going to really spoil any of what I think the changes would have, I know what the changes were to the meta, and if stuff would have gone up or down. But Alomomola, really solid regenerator mon, really high HP stat. Like, there's a ton of mons you can heal up to like 75-80% HP with really no issue, just because of the mons NU obviously aren't as great. Regenerator, Wish Protect, Toxic, it could be Waterfall or Scald, depending. Waterfall obviously is a lot stronger, coming off 75 attack than 40. The burn chance with Scald is nice, especially because burn in this generation is 12.5% of your HP, 1/8 as opposed to 1/16 from what the current gen is. So that's a really big buff there. Knockoff is an item that could also be run. Pretty situational. Same with Healing Wish. I wouldn't run them a whole lot. Magic Coat is an item that you can run if you want to run like a lead Alomomola against Garbodor Spikes, which Garbodor Spikes I'll talk about in a sec is probably the best option available. Alomomola got probably the biggest buff when, before this tournament, there were a couple things that were banned, and one of them was Shadow Tag Gothorita. I think Alomomola might have benefited the most out of any Pokemon, even like Garbodor, which is kind of weird because Goth kind of traps it. With Alomomola, you were mostly forced to run Shed Shell if you wanted to run it. Just if you faked Alomomola or Gothorita, it's just a free setup to +6. And Goth, honestly, I didn't think set up on a ton of mons, but it definitely set up on Alomomola, so definitely annoying. And if you weren't running leftovers, then like Spectin Power Grass is like a decent chance to 2 KO Alomomola if it doesn't have leftovers, even after Protect. So you really wanted leftovers on those ads, so definitely unfortunate there. Another Alomomola set is Special Defensive with Mirror Coat. And that could tank basically any special hit. Maybe like a Rotom Frost, Volt Switch. I imagine, I don't know if the Alomomola Mirror Coat set is on here. I don't think so. But we can go with like a Rotom Frost. Thunderbolt, you can see there's not going to kill, but if you invest more in special defense, you're definitely going to take a Volt Switch from a Rotom Frost, and then a Mirror Coat is going to kill anything that's not a Dark type. I guess you can kind of predict that, like going into Skuntank, but then you wouldn't want to get burned by Scald, so it really depends on what the team matchup is, and if you think it's going to be a Mirror Coat Alomomola set. But really high HP stat, can take on a lot of physical walls like Sawk and Primeape. You can run Rocky Helmet and get those chipped down pretty well. Tauros as well. Bandit, I don't believe Alomomola takes 2 Sawk hits. No, it doesn't. Even if you're like max, after Protect, you're probably not taking it. You might be able to take it with Rocks and after Leftovers and Protect. It's close, but Alomomola is still an elite defensive wall and a great Wish Passer. Garbodor is next, and that's probably the one I probably should have talked about first. That's like the meta-defining one, because you'll see in a bit that the removal in this generation is really bad. There is no defog. Well, there's defog, but defog doesn't, I believe it lowers accuracy or something. It doesn't remove hazards, so you only have to rely on, even Nat2, and I don't think even Nat2 is on the viability rankings list, or you can run Rapid Spin, and we're not going to be highlighting many Rapid Spin users because they're not that great. So definitely unfortunate there. So Garbodor sets them up pretty free, especially without Gothorita in the tier. Setting up Spike seems easier for sure. So Garbodor, a downside of Garbodor, Gunk Shot is only 70% accurate as opposed to 80% in the current generation, but it's still pretty nice. It's not going to be passive, unlike Alomomola. Like, you could break substitutes from mons for sure. So you'd run Spikes, Gunk Shot. You could run Toxic Spikes, but with how prevalent the combination of Garbodor and Skuntank are, it's kind of a wasted slot. Like, you just assume that something's going to absorb the T-Spikes, but if you assume that and then the Garbodor dies early, then you're in a good situation there. Rock Blast could be an option. I think Seed Bomb and Explosion are a little bit more common items. It really depends. So Garbodor could be pretty physically defensive with Rocky Helmet. Again, the Punish Primeape U-turns. It can take one banded Sawk hit. Sawk can go for an Earthquake on the Garbodor, but You will be able to take one at least, and Gunk Shot's going to do a lot. You could be Rocky Helmet. Black Sludge is fine. Pain Split is an option if you want a little bit more longevity on the set. You can run Toxic, I suppose. You could also run like a speedier Garbodor to outspeed Seismitoad by 1 point and go for a Seed Bomb. So you could be like an offensive Garbodor. You can run Scarf. Scarf is not common, but it's definitely a viable option there to surprise something and get up fast spikes, which honestly, if you're not going to remove the spikes and just having that residual damage out there is great. And that's why Alomomola is good, to try to mitigate those spikes by passing off wishes to maybe frailer things. But the downside is, if you have a lot of spikes that the Alomomola is not, it's going to get to a KO a little bit easier. But Garbodor is like the meta-defining Pokemon. You want to limit the amount of spikes that Garbodor gets up. You want to try to figure out ways to kill it, so that way your fighting types can do a little bit better. Mandibuzz is next, and Mandibuzz also seems pretty crazy. Like, that's like probably a UU-OU mon in this generation. And Mandibuzz dropped pretty late into Generation 5, into NU from RU, and never really rose. It obviously didn't rise back up, but yeah, Mandibuzz, very bulky. You are taking rocks damage, so no heavy-duty boots in this gen, unfortunately. But Leftovers, Foul Play, Roost, Toxic, Taunt. This is probably the most common set. You can taunt, like, Duosion and Mandibuzz, or not, well, you can taunt Mandibuzzes, but Musharnas from, like, setting up a lot of Calm Minds. Toxic will at least hit the Musharna, won't hit the Duosion. You could run Brave Bird if you wanted to damage Sawks or Primeapes a little bit harder. Also hit Serperior harder, which you'll see is the last S-rank Pokemon. Taunt is also nice if you run like a fast Mandibuzz, which I would run max speed Mandibuzz, or at least enough speed at speed Garbodor. You can taunt that to prevent it from getting rocks up. I don't think U-turn is that common of a move slot on Mandibuzz, because I think you'd rather have Foul Play or Brave Bird as an attacking option. You want Roost, you want Toxic, and you want Taunt. Also taunting like Alomomola, Toxic, and such. What else? Like any rocks, because if you lead this against, like, say Piloswine is a pretty good lead. Like Piloswine's not doing a lot of damage to you. Like, if it's gonna pressure you, I guess Icicle Spear. Not many people run an ice move outside of Ice Shard on Piloswine, so like you can take on a lot of the lead stealth rockers, especially if you run like max speed. I guess Seismitoad isn't gonna be, if it's like an offensive Seismitoad lead, like it's not doing a lot of damage back to you. Like if it predicts you to go for taunt, so like you can beat basically any stealth rock lead with the Mandibuzz. Maybe outside of like Golem. Golem Rock Blast doesn't even do that much. But Stone Edge probably 2 KOs. But then you just roost it off anyway. So, like, it's like you could take on a lot of mons with Mandibuzz. It's really bulky. But if you get Stealth Rocks up, then you look at like Primeape, like Choice Scarf Primeape. If you're like a fast Mandibuzz set with not a lot of speed, close combat, a decent chance to a KO. Then you can run more defense, but then you're not going to outspeed as much, and maybe rocks or hazard are going to get up on the field, and then Mandibuzz isn't doing its job. So, a bulky mon, ideally you want it to prevent getting rocks up or hazards up or status up. It's a mon that can just sit on the field and soak a lot of damage. It's a great mon there. Serperior. Serperior has usually runs Life Orb. You can run like Meadow Plate to not take the Life Orb recall, but Life Orb recall isn't even the worst because you can get into Overgrow faster with Life Orb damage. You can run Calm Mind, Giga Drain, Hidden Power Rock. That'll hit the Skuntank, or not Skuntank, Mandibuzz and Charizard. If you are not afraid of Charizard, then you can run Hidden Power Ground, and that'll 2 KO Skuntank, especially because Skuntank usually doesn't run Poison Jab. It really depends. I usually don't. And then either Substitute or Taunt as the fourth move. Max HP or max speed and max special attack on a Serperior. Like Alomomola destroys, if you run Hidden Power Rock, it destroys Charizard. Garbodor gets 2KO'd by Hidden Power Ground, but you're not going to really beat Garbodor with Serperior. Garbodor is probably going to beat you 1-on-1 there, but it also kind of has to rely on 70% accurate gunk shots. If you get enough subs up and your Hidden Power Ground, you might beat it. If you're Hidden Power Rock, you're probably not beating Garbodor with Serperior unless you get really lucky with a lot of misses with Garbodor, but definitely possible. Carracosta, it's one of the fastest mons, Serperior. Like, Tauros is another fast mon that reaches at 110. Not a lot of mons reach 113 speed. We can see here, if I just click on it, all mons are actually NU would be like Floatzel, Swallow. I don't even consider Electrode and Ninja as really NU mons. And Floatzel, you're not going to run much. Swallow is pretty good, but like not many mons are going to outspeed Serperior. Now you have Choice Scarf users that'll outspeed and such, and you probably want to run at least one Choice Scarf user to make sure you outspeed Serperior, because it can take most priority fine. Maybe outside of like Piloswine Ice Shard, but like you just got to make sure you're weak into Serperior enough for that to revenge. Yeah, Serperior, one of the best mons out there. Now A rank. So these are mons that are really, really good. I guess we can go back to so the S rank mons. Alomomola I had at S. Garbodor I ranked as S. Mandibuzz I ranked an S rated mon, and Serperior I also rated S. So all four of those mons I agreed, and they should be S rank. Next is Charizard. I have it ranked as A+. It was S before, but like Charizard, you don't have really many switch-ins. You could call it a problem. It's a problem. With Stealth Rocks going up, you're taking 50% of health. So if you have an odd number of HP, if you get hit twice by rocks, you're going to go down to 1 HP. And Blaze Boosted Fire Blasts or Flamethrowers are going to hurt a lot. And Fire Blast this gen is 120 power as opposed to 110. So it's hitting a little bit harder. Yeah, there's not a lot of switch-ins like Alomomola to let's pull up Charizard. Choice specs to Alomomola. Just like standard. You're doing a decent amount of damage, and if you're in Blaze, you twig KO. Unless you're like a very special defensive Alomomola. It's just crazy how strong this mon can get, but there's enough priority out there, like Skuntank, Sucker Punch, I believe does 50%. Borderline 50%. So you could die after one Stealth Rock hit. Kangaskhan with Fake Out plus Sucker Punch is going to kill you. Samurott Aqua Jet is going to kill you after rocks. Hidden Power Rock Serperior is going to knock you. So you do have to watch out for those things. You could also run like maybe Charcoal. Life Orb is another item on Charizard. Life Orb is pretty risky, but you can run 3 attacks with Roost to have a little bit more longevity. Fire Blast, Air Slash, or you could even go like Focus Blast if you want to hit like Regirock a little bit harder. And you probably want Hidden Power Grass to hit the Alomomola, hit the Carracosta for decent damage there. Air Slash, you can also hit opposing Charizards, I guess. But you don't really need flying coverage for a ton of things. There's physical sets listed here, but it'd be pretty situational to run those. I think like Life Orb or Choice Scarf or Choice Specs are all great. And there's really not any Choice Scarf user that's going to outspeed Charizard unless you run like Scarf Electabuzz or something like that. So Charizard's a pretty safe bet to get like a pretty strong hit off, especially if you're at 1 HP. Choice Scarf or just Choice Specs, you just nuke a lot of things. So Charizard's cool, a little hindered by rocks, but still great. Golurk, what did I have that ranked as? I had Golurk at A+, so everything's lining up with me. Golurk, Stealth Rocker. As in terms of like normal Stealth Rock leads, It doesn't match up well against Piloswine, unless you run Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch is a 50-50 chance to confuse, as opposed to a third of a chance currently. Piloswine, Dynamic Punch. Like, you could basically force a 50-50, but whether the Piloswine's going to actually get a hit off or get rocks up. So, like, that's not bad. But risky, obviously. You can run a lot of items on Golurk. You can run berries like Pasha Berry to take a Samurott hit. You can run Rindo Berry to take a Serperior hit and then deal a lot of damage back with Ice Punch. But that's kind of risky because you're giving a lot of HP back to Giga Drain with Serperior. I think just getting Stealth Rocks up, Earthquake, Ice Punch, like a breaker like that. You can run Shadow Punch to hit Duosion or Musharna or Misdreavus, which takes your hits pretty well otherwise, but even base like 60 power is kind of not great, but it's fine. Lumberry can be an option to avoid Will-O-Wisp from, or status from other mons. Golurk has a lot of options here. I don't even know what like a defined set would be for Golurk, or even like a defined EV spread. You can run Banded. You want rocks up though. You probably want to run a rocker set like this. Leftovers, that's fine. So yeah, Golurk, reliable rocker for sure. Kangaskhan, I had Kangaskhan ranked as S. Yeah, I was actually the only one who had Kangaskhan at S. Kangaskhan with spikes is like one of the most reliable ways to win games. Just with Fake Out, you're getting, so that's priority damage that you can't do anything about, plus spikes you have to take, plus taking, because you're almost always going to run Silk Scarf, Fake Out, Double Edge, Earthquake, and Sucker Punch. So probably Jolly. So you add speed Sawk, and you also add speed Misdreavus, because with Scrappy you're going to be hitting Misdreavus, which is great. This is like a pretty reliable set that's going to beat a lot of things. And if you can get spikes up, like Kangaskhan has options to just flat out double edge. And base 90 speed is really nice in this gen. You add speed Garbodor, you add speed Sawk, you add speed Misdreavus, you add speed Mandibuzz, and do a lot of damage with double edge. Though if it's like a more bulky Mandibuzz, you don't do a KO, but you do a ton of damage. Fake Out hits the fashion mons like Serperior. You could maybe Fake Out into Sucker Punch, potentially kill it. Same with like Primeape, if it's like a 50% or so, Fake Out plus Sucker Punch probably kills it. Earthquake is there hitting like the rock types. Like you're not doing a ton to Regirock, but you're not left high and dry. You could also run Drain Punch or Recovery, but it's noticeably weaker. You probably don't want to do that. And Earthquake is nice. You can hit the Skuntank without taking aftermath damage. So really reliable, just offensive revenge killer. Another option you can run is like a very bulky set, maybe like max special defense, or you can mix the EVs out, whatever you want. You can run Rest, Sleep Talk, Circle Throw, and Roar. So you'd be getting, you would keep your speed tier while you're using asleep using Rest, and you could get faster Circle Throws and faster Roars than your opponents as long as you add speed them, which is really nice. And Kangaskhan being a normal type, only being weak to fighting types, and there's enough mons like Garbodor, as you saw, that can take Golurk. Taking fighting types is a nice niche for that mon. That could take on the fighting types. So Kangaskhan is, it's weak to fighting types, but there's a lot of ways to mitigate that. But you could pass a ton of damage around with spikes and toxic spikes and rocks, with the combination of this moveset here. I don't even know if it's listed, but it should be. That's like another great set if you're not ready for it. Banded, I don't think I'd really run that. Sub-Focus Punch, I don't think I'd really run that either. It's not even listed, but yeah, this is a really solid Kangaskhan set in this meta. Yeah, I think Kangaskhan, with the ability to revenge kill a lot of things and just hit super hard, I think it's worthy of an S rank. Rotom Frost. Now this mon was like barely used when I actually played, like when it was live on the ladder. Hardly used at all. And I think it was ranked A- before, but I ranked it this gen at A+. So yeah, it just shows how much the metagame evolved and made Rotom Frost a really big threat. And it's just because Thunder, Electric plus Ice is just a nice combination of attacking moves to have. Like, not many mons resist it outside of, like... I mean, Aldina doesn't resist it, but it takes the hits with really no issue. One mon that does take it on that's pretty common, Piloswine, really doesn't care about taking blizzards because of thick fat. Like, you're not taking anything from electric moves, and then ice is resisted. So, like, Miltank, I guess, is another mon that can take it on well, but there's not a ton of mons that take the combination of Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, and Blizzard. And then that force moveset, like all those mons that do take it on, you can run a Trick. And then tricking a Choice Scarf onto Piloswine or Miltank or Aldino is really crippling. And you are going to be taking 25% from rocks, so that's unfortunate, but still really reliable. Also outspeeds Sawk. Choice Scarf Sawk, I guess. You probably want to run Scarf Primeape over it, so you don't see Scarf Sawk as often, but it's a nice niche to have. It outspeeds Shell Smash Carracosta if it's at +2 speed. It outspeeds Goribus by 1 point. If it goes for Shell Smash, even at Timid +2, you will outspeed it by 1 point and Revenge Kill it with a Volt Switch, which is great. There is also Expert Belt Rotom Frost sets with Hidden Power Grass. And you can run Hidden Power Grass in general to hit, like, what would you hit with Hidden Power Grass harder? Like Seismitoad. Oh yeah, that's a really big one. Like Blizzard's gonna do okay damage to it, but Hidden Power Grass is gonna nuke that one. Will-O-Wisp sets, Pain Split sets are also niche, but can definitely work. Resto Chesto, Rotom Frost sets are also fine. Sawk. You always want to have a Sawk answer on your team, but like close combat, Earthquake, they hit Misdreavus, especially if you're running Mold Breaker, which you almost always should. Close combat, if you run like Adamant, Choice Banded, Mold Breaker, Sawk, you can kill like Golem. Let's see. Sawk, Choice Banded to Golem. Like, you're going to kill that mod. Regirock, I don't think you kill. You might be able to kill it, depending on the spread. Piloswine you would kill unless if it's physically defensive, which is what I usually run, like a physically defensive Piloswine that doesn't get O-coded by Sawk, or it's borderline anyway. But not a lot of mon switch into it, outside of the ghost types, but ghost types... Not Gible. Ghost types in the tier, there's not many. That's why Golurk is not bad, because it takes Sawk hits. But Sawk's going to run Ice Punch anyway. You always want to run Close Combat, Ice Punch, and Earthquake. Fourth move can be really anything. Stone Edge, maybe to hit Mandibuzz slightly harder and not take defense drops, but you're going to miss anyway. Ice Punch also hits Drifblim. Toxic you can run on the last slot. Knockoff, I guess. Knockoff is only base 20, so it's really weak this gen, but I guess it's an option. You don't have, like, Stone Edge, or, yeah, I guess Stone Edge isn't that great either. Close Combat, Earthquake, Ice Punch from Sawk, or just a great combination there. Almost always banded. I think Fist Plate isn't that bad if you want to bluff that your Scarf and run, like, a Taunt as, like, an anti-lead. Low Kick, I guess, could be an option, too. Poison Jab, not really, because there's no fairies to hit. You also don't take on Psychic types, but there's not really a lot that want to take on Earthquake. Like, Metang obviously doesn't. Kadabra will Revenge Kill you. Gardevoir doesn't want to take Earthquakes. Executor doesn't want to take Ice Punches. It's really only Musharna and Duosion that can reliably switch into Sawk as a Psychic type, and then you have, like, Misdreavus can it can switch into close combat, but versus like Misdreavus, Earthquake is doing a lot of damage to you. So not that reliable. So yeah, not a ton of switching to Sawk. You want to have at least like 1.5 ways to revenge cut, like Garbodor. It's also really nice to be like a defensive answer into Banded Sawk and take close combats, especially if you're Rocky Helmet and giving that chip damage. Or if you're like Custap Berry Explosion, that can be another way to revenge kill Sawk. But Sawk deals out a lot of damage. It can be revenge killed fairly easily, like Rotom Frost will outspeed it. Primate outspeeds it. And if you have a defense sprout, will revenge kill it. But yeah, Sawk, pretty hard to switch into. Seismitoad, I had ranked as A+, and it's still here. It's the fastest Stealth Rock user. And like, it beats Golurk, it beats Piloswine, it beats Golem. And they're like among the most prevalent. Carracosta it beats as well with Earth Power. It beats like all of the other common Stealth Rock leads. So Seismitoad is great in that regard. You can run Rain Dance sets, I suppose, but I think Ludicolo does it better. But Seismitoad is fine in that regard. But you want to run Water Absorb generally with Stealth Rocks. You can run Toxic Protect. You can run Water moves like Surf and Earthquake, or Earth Power and Protect, or Toxic. You could be Rindoberry to take like a Seed Bomb from a Garbodor. And this is also why Seismitoad is nice. You can run Max. Well, you don't outspeed Garbodor, but you can deal a lot of damage with either Earthquake or Earth Power, depending. Probably Earth Power, because I think most Garbodors are going to run physically defensive to take on the fighting types, as I mentioned. But Rindoberry allow you to live any one hit, and it, like a lot of months, will run Hidden Power Grass for Seismitoad, so running Rindoberry for that is also not a bad option. Takes on the electric types pretty well, outside of like Eelektross. It doesn't really hit that well, but you can run Toxic. Toxic will hit Alomomola. You could also run sub-Toxic sets, Earth Power, Protect, or Serve as the last option, something like that. Could also be valid. You don't have to run Rocks on Seismitoad. Like, I think if you want to run Golurk, for example, you probably almost always want to have Rocks on it. But Seismitoad, you have enough options where you don't have to run that type of set. I think it's pretty versatile, and it's definitely a cool mod. Skuntank. I have Skuntank also ranked as an S mod. Where did I have it on here? Yes, I also rated it S. But comes in at A+. Skuntank, you're almost always going to run. Now, Skuntank ran the set on the calc is going to be a lot of special defense to take like a Charizard hit, which is fine. What I think the best Skuntank is actually Jolly and something like, I guess, 224. You want to outspeed base 80s. I think it's really nice. Like outspeeding Mandibuzz, outspeeding Gardevoir, even though you have Sucker Punch, to avoid like a fast burn would be great. What other things? You would outspeed, Jolly outspeeds Seismitoad, so you can taunt it to prevent it getting rocks up. Driftblim, outspeeding that and getting a crunch before it goes for a Will-O-Wisp is also great. I think running Jolly is definitely better than running Adamant Skuntank sets. But most Skuntanks are going to run Lumberry, Aftermath, so like if Sawk goes for close combat, you're going to at least deal a little bit of damage back. Sucker Punch, kind of like Kangaskhan, where having a really fast hit off is great. Skuntank is also nice to take on Serperior. Crunch, Pursuit, and Taunt. This is like what you want to run, and then max attack, and then max speed, or enough speed to add speed base 80s. It's a really reliable set. You can run more special defensive to take special defense, to take special attacks. Pursuit, obviously great to trap like psychic types if you want your fighting types to open up a little bit. Taunt, outspeeding Garbodor to make sure it doesn't set up a ton of spikes on you. It's going to take also absorb toxic spikes if Garbodor does run T-spikes, which is nice. Lumberry is there in case you face Misdreavus. We'll talk about the set in a bit, but max speed Misdreavus with Will-O-Wisps is definitely annoying. Drifblim also runs that set, but at least Skuntank you'll outspeed it if it does like predict your switching and go for a Will-O-Wisp. You have the Lumberry and then Crunch or Pursuit depending on what you think the Drifblim's going to do. Misdreavus, if it predicts you switching in and goes for a Will-O-Wisp, is kind of unfortunate. If it hits 2, it is 75% accurate in this generation. Crunch isn't doing a ton to Misdreavus, but if it misses, then Crunch is doing a ton, almost killing it, and you could take out the Misdreavus if it does miss one of the 2 Will-O-Wisps. Even if it does hit, you're still at a decent chance that like Crunch will do like 40% to Misdreavus. Or status Crunch. Yeah, you're still doing like 40% to Misdreavus, even if you are burned, and then you can Pursuit Trap it, maybe even bring in a range to where rocks are going to kill it, and then your Fighting type opens up. So it's going to take really nice to eliminate Ghosts and Psychics to open up Sawk or Primate. Absorbs Toxic, Splates, outspeeds a lot of things and taunts them, saying like Mandibuzz, Alomomola. And if Alomomola goes for a Scald Burn, at least you have Lumberry to activate it once. You could also run Dreadplate to have stronger Dark moves, but I think Lumberry is nice to prevent burns. That's going to tank there. So now we're into the A's. Carracosta is next. As an A rank, I also had it as A. It can Shell Smash. Carracosta with like Shell Smash. You can run like mixed. You can run like Waterfall, Stone Edge, Aqua Jet. I think that's probably the best set on Carracosta. I usually like to run Jolly on the set because then you're going to add speed. Misdreavus, I believe. Carracosta, Shell Smash. Yeah, so if you run Adamant, so like you're dealing a ton of damage otherwise. You're not going to add speed Serperior. If you're Jolly, you do outspeed it by 2 points. So I think that's fair. Oh, you guys don't see that, but you outspeed Serperior by 2 points if you run Jolly. And you obviously nuke with a Stone Edge, unless you miss, which you probably are. Does Ice Beam hit? Yes, Ice Beam would kill it too. So that's an option there, but Adamant hits really, really hard. Revenge kills like Charizard with Aqua Jet, which is great. You could also run, and you can run Sturdy on that set to like guaranteed you're gonna live a hit. You do have to worry about like Fake Out from Kangaskhan, I guess, but you're not gonna go for the sweep unless you have an opportunity to set up Ed. Like if you're like defensed enough, like if you have high enough HP, like even if you have a -1 drop in defense, you're still taking a lot of hits on the defensive side. Not on the special defensive side, but like Kangaskhan's pretty tough for you to. It's going to be tough to get revenge killed by Kangaskhan against the Carracosta, even if it's at -1 defense. You could run White Herb to mitigate it too. Life Orb is also a good item there. You could also run a bulkier spread and just run like a rocker set. Yeah, something like Waterfall, Stone Edge, and Toxic. That would be fine. Another set I've seen is Custap Berry special attacking set with like Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Hidden Power Grass. Something like this type of set. Like, that's also not that bad of a lead. Because Hidden Power Grass is going to nuke the Seismitoad. Hydro Pump's going to nuke the Golurk and the Piloswine, and like Golem. Ice Beam will nuke like a Serperior if it wants to lead. Hydro Pump, you're going to 2 KO a Garbodor. It could have Seed Bomb and maybe 2 KO. I don't even know. Like Solid Rock, Garbodor spikes. If it's a Seed Bomb and like not attack invested, it might not even 2 KO you, which is just crazy. Like no bulk at all. But Solid Rock will reduce that damage output there. But you probably want to run Sturdy, so it probably 2 KOs you. And you wouldn't be able to add speed anyway. No. So, but you could run something like that too. I guess it doesn't handle Garbodor the greatest, but you can run Stealth Rock and these 3 attacks and also be fine. Really nice rocker, and also a cool setup sweeper. Duosion, next, I had it ranked A. So Duosion is nice because it has Magikarp, so you're not going to be getting hit by spikes. Musharna is going to be on the list later, and it does get hit by spikes and T-spikes, which makes it not as bulky. Duosion's not that bulky of a mon either, but if you're going to run like max like this, Calm Mind, Recover, Psyshock to beat opposing Duosions, and Thunder usually as the last slot to hit Mandibuzz. You could also run a Signal Beam if like Shiftry or Cacturn is a little more threatening. Hidden Power Fighting I don't think is really that necessary. I'd either run Thunder or Signal Beam to hit, depending on whatever of those threats are more threatening. I guess you can run Hidden Power Ground to hit Skuntank, but Skuntank, like, how much... So, like, if you're a Calm Mind set, Skuntank... Like, if it's Jolly, it has, like, a 50-50 chance to 2-hit KO you. And if you're, like, a +1 special attack, how much is Thunder doing? It's, like, a 2-hit KO. So it's, like, it's actually going to do more if you're not going to run a lot of special defense. So, like, you can run special defense Skuntank for Duosion, but, like, Thunder's doing decent damage from Duosion. It's can be pretty tough to take down, and it's also really nice against Sawk. Banded Sawk... not 2-hit KO. So you can set up on Sawk. And Primate's even weaker. It has a U-turn, but that's doing pitiful damage against you. And you'll even, like, you could come in later, not take spikes, and then recover up. If, like, you had to, worst case. So, not taking spikes damage, really nice for this mon. Gurdurr, I had it ranked as A. Gurdurr is, nice because it takes status. So, Misdreavus is a Will-O-Wisp set. It hurts the Skuntank, but doesn't hurt Gurdurr because it has Guts. And now it's going to be hitting a lot harder. Something like Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Mach Punch, and Payback. Knockoff is a lot weaker in this generation, and you're going to be slower to most things anyway, so Payback is doing really nice damage to back this stuff. Stone Edge could be an option, but I would almost always run Payback because you're hitting Ghost types and you're hitting Psychic types with this set. Pretty straightforward mon. It can take Sawk hits and Primate pits. So Bulk Up against Sawk. You can beat Sawk one-on-one. Because if he goes for a close combat, defenses are going to go down, and Drain Punch plus Mach Punch is going to kill. Mach Punch having that priority is nice to revenge stuff. Takes on Kangaskhan with really no issue. Don't think it really beats Alomomola. It could Wish Protect, Toxic Stall out Gurdurr, but is what it is. Garbodor kind of sets up spikes. I mean, Gurdurr bulks up on Garbodor setting up spikes, but still kind of weird there. Mandibuzz doesn't really beat this because it's going to be forced to roost, and Drain Punch is going to do a lot back. So yeah, Gurdurr's definitely a cool mon. Gardevoir. I don't know where to have Gardevoir. Where is it on this list? I had Gardevoir at... Where is it? Why is it not coming up? Oh, I had it at A. Okay, so this makes sense. The base 80 has a lot of options. It's a pretty good gem user, I would say. So gems are basically like a bandit or specs hit. One-time use item. You probably run Trace for the most part. Get some cool abilities from people. Or from other mons, like Alomomola Regenerator is like one of the best uses of it. It could be a bulky Will-O-Wisp set. You can run Scarf, Psychics. You do have to watch out for getting Pursuit Trapped by Skuntank. Specs hits. is definitely an option. We could see what Gardevoir is listed here. There's like, it could really do a lot of things. It could just all-out attack. That's fine. Subcalm Line, I think, can work. Probably Thunderbolt over Psychic because you want to hit the Mandibuzz harder. Screens, I think would be okay. You can run Colbur Berry and like defensive sets, specs. A lot of options with Gardevoir. Maybe the master of none, but has a ton of versatility. So I think that's why it's ranked in A. Misdreavus, I probably had at A+. Yeah, I had Misdreavus at A+. But it's ranked A here. And I think the best set is Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt to get past. It hits, well, I think it's the hardest move to hit Skuntank, and also hits Mandibuzz. And you can go Taunt or Will-O-Wisp on this 4th slot. Honestly, both work. Taunt prevents you from getting Toxic from like a Mandibuzz and beat that way. Will-O-Wisp like really neuters a Sawk or something like that, especially if it's adamant. But a great switch in to fighting types. And Nasty Plot makes it not passive either. You can run Paint Split, I guess, in this move slot to have a little bit of longevity. And you'd run like max speed. Especially with Will-O-Wisp, you want to run max speed to make sure you add speed. Skuntank and have a chance to get 2 Will-O-Wisps off on it and permanently burn it. That would be great. Probably like a defensive, like physically defensive Misdreavus is probably the set that's listed here. Yeah, something like this. It could be fine, but I think Nasty Plot opens you up a little bit more. And I just run max speed. I wouldn't worry about 216 speed because you want to add speed like a max speed Skuntank anyway. Taunt's also nice to make sure Garbodor doesn't set up spikes. Next, Piloswine. Did I have this in A+? I had Piloswine at A-. Okay. Yeah, that's probably a mistake. At least A it's good for Piloswine. And you're gonna run Stealth Rock, Ice Shard for priority, good against like a Serperior, Earthquake. You can run a couple options on this last slot. You can run Roar just to get hazards up in conjunction with Garbodor Spikes. You can run Icicle Crash. I don't really see this too often. I think you want a little other versatility with your attacking moves, and you already have Ice Shard anyway. Toxic can be a move in this slot. Superpower I kind of like in this slot to hit a Kangaskhan plus Rotom Frost. Toxic gets it otherwise, and Roar does too, but doesn't do a whole lot of initial damage to it. Violate. And then I like running max HP, max defense to make sure that I take on the fighting types. I can take a hit and then kill in return with Earthquake plus Ice Shard. I don't take on Gurdurr, but at least Primeape and Sawk I take on pretty well. Where like I can take a hit like 1-on-1, I can take it on. I'm not gonna switch into it, but I can take hits. Icicle Crash isn't bad for like Golurk either. You can run max attack and do a lot more damage. I think running more defense is fine on this spread. Regirock, maybe I had that. Okay, I had that as A too. Another pretty solid rocker there. Regirock is also a pretty cool Sunny Day user. I don't know if it's listed here. Nope. Sunny Day. Yeah. You can run Sunny Day Regirock, but like a stealth rocker. It has Thunder Wave, which is great to paralyze like fighting types. You'd probably want to run Chapel Berry a lot of weeks. Something like this can work pretty well. Max HP, max attack. You probably don't need a lot of defense because you're taking a lot of hits, especially with a Chapel Berry. Yeah, really high defense stat. Thunder Wave, it's going to lower your speed by 75% as opposed to 50%. So that makes that move significantly better. And there's not a ton of clerics. We haven't seen one yet. Misdreavus can run Heal Bell, but most often you're not going to. And Explosion is pretty powerful, so really cool mon here, and Regirock. Rotom Fan At A, I might have put this at A+. Where did I have Rotom Fan? Rotom S. Rotom Fan I had at A+. But it's sitting in A here. Works pretty similarly to Rotom Frost. It revenge kills stuff. Blizzard is a little more spammable, but you're also relying on a base 70 accurate move. And Air Slash is at least base 95, which is nice. It also resists Sawk and Primate, so like you can take a close combat if you had to. You probably don't really want to for the most part, but you can if you had to. So that's like a benefit that it has. Charizard, you're not gonna really beat. Like I guess you could take a Scarfed Charizard hit and kill in return. Like that's not bad. Yeah, that's what Rotom Fan does over Rotom Frost. I think I generally like Rotom Frost more. But Rotom Fan is nice. Air Slash a little bit more reliable to revenge kill Serperior than like relying on a Blizzard from Rotom Frost to revenge kill. Because you're probably gonna miss. Air Slash is also nice to hit the fighting types a little bit harder. So if you need a little bit of a better fighting check, or like a fight like a secondary fighting resist, like Rotom Fan is usually fine in that revenge killing type of role. Next we got Samurott in A. That was an S-Ranksmon. I have it at A now. It's still really cool. Samurott is cool because you can run both Sword Stand sets and special attacking sets. With base 108 special attack, you can run Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Hidden Power Grass. Even though it has Grass, not Hidden Power Grass hits Alomomola a lot harder. So you generally want to run that. And then you can run Mega Horn if you want to hit Ludicolo's. You can run Taunt in this set. You can run Aqua Jet on this special set, or you can run Sword Stance with Waterfall or Razor Shell. Razor Shell can miss and is slightly weaker, but has a 50-50 chance to lower defense, which is nice. Waterfall is the flinch chance, which is also cool and won't miss Aqua Jet. And then either Mega Horn or Return. Probably Mega Horn to hit like those Cacturns harder, hit Duosion harder. You don't probably need Life Orb on physical Samurott, but you can have it for the extra damage output. Maybe Mystic Water, because you have Waterfall plus Aqua Jet. Sits at a base 70 speed tier. Bulky enough to take a decent amount of hits. A-, we got Braviary. Where did I have this? I had Braviary at B+. But A-, you can run Choice Scarf Braviary. You're not going to get any Defiant boosts from Defogs, at least in this generation, but I don't really think am I missing an Intimidator? I mean, there's Tauros, but you're not going to run Intimidate Tauros for the most part. Really no Intimidator. Yeah, so you're not going to get a lot of drops to utilize Defiant, but Choice Scarf, Choice Bandit is nice. Choice Bandit probably 2-KOs Alomomola. Braviary, Choice Bandit versus Alomomola. It hits harder than Sawk, right? Because Sawk's base 125, so it hits about as hard as Sawk. But you are weak to rock, so more chip damage for sure. It's not even that great of a revenge killer. That's probably why I had it at B. You can also run the special defensive bulk up Braviary set. So that set listed here with a decent amount of special defense. You could stall out rock types even. And some rock types ran Rock Blast to kind of mitigate this bulk up Braviary set. Because Stone Edge runs out of your PP a lot more, and then Rock Blast is going to also hit you after breaking a sub. So this set can get annoying if it gets set up, but I think the meta is a little too aggressive for it to really do a ton of damage. Yeah, that's still a pretty cool set, and you have to watch out for it. Eelektross, I probably had it ranked around here, maybe A even. I had it at B+. Okay, yeah. I think that's fair. This is also like, it's It's not a master of anything, but because like the stats aren't great, it's fine. But like it's fine bulk because it's not weak to anything outside of like Mold Breaker Sawk, because that could just run Earthquake hit. Yeah, close combat's probably gonna nuke you anyway. But you can run a superpower on like special sets with Life Orb to hit bulky normals, but they're not really that common. You probably just want to run special attack with like Volt Switch, Giga Drain to hit like Seismitoad, Carracosta, Flamethrower to hit like Serperior and such, Thunderbolt. You can run U-Turn, I guess, on the set. You have options like max special attack, maybe enough speed to add speed, Alomomola, or whatever that would come to. It's a cool mon, and like niche like takes on some things fine, but it's okay. I think A- is probably a little too high for it. Yeah, that set looks fine. Superpower to hit like normal types if you want to. This is probably the set I would run. Specs is an option, but I think getting locked into electric move is not the best. Physical attack here, I'd probably run. Haunter is interesting because it's not a great Sawk answer because of Mold Breaker's gonna break Levitate, but Haunter's pretty fast. And sub disable sets, and also Skuntank's in the tier, so like Haunter's also kind of tough in that regard. You can run Destiny Bond to get past like a Skuntank if you wanted to. You could trade with Haunter for that. Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball, like that's a pretty decent set right there. Taunt if you want to make sure like Mandibuzz doesn't beat you. Like Haunter has like niche like defensive capabilities just because it's a ghost type. Even though it's super frail. And it hits really hard at base 115 special attack. There's not a ton of mons that are higher special attack than Haunter. As you can see here, there's a couple NU mons, and only Gardevoir is ranked higher in the viability rankings. So, yeah, Haunter's cool. I think, I had it at B+ as well, but it's a really hard hitting special attacker. But there's enough mons like Skuntank and Kangaskhan with Fake Out will still hit it and Sucker Punch that it's not the best, but it could definitely work on teams. Musharna is lower than Duosion because it gets hit by spikes. But Musharna is nice in that it can Baton Pass, because Baton Pass is legal as long as you don't pass speed with it. So Calm Mind, Baton Pass, something like this can work really well. Colbur to maybe take a Dark Hit or something like that, or Leftovers. You can pass this into Charizard, pass it into a Rotom form. Serperior, I guess, but Serperior could already Calm Mind anyway. Probably Charizard seems like the best recipient. Or there's other special attackers, but Musharna is nice in that regard. You can run a Calm Mind set similar to a Duosion, but it doesn't. It has Signal Beam if you want to run that, but it doesn't have like Thunderbolt or any other coverage move like or Thunder like Duosion has that could hit Mandibuzz. So you're kind of in a pickle. But Signal Beam is like versus Mandibuzz isn't that bad, especially with having synchronized. Like Mandibuzz doesn't really want to toxic you either because you're gonna get the toxic back to it. That's not even the best way to revenge kill it. I don't even know what other Musharna sets you would really run. And also Thunder Wave, which is a broken move anyway, and also a Cleric in this gen. So, generally worse than Duosion because it doesn't set up sweep as well, and it's not as bulky because you're taking spikes. But even if you take spikes, you take Sawk hits and Primate hits with really no issue, so that's fine. I would not run specs. I'd probably run Beheem specs over that, but Musharna in A-, it's a nice Baton Pass user, I would say. Sawsbuck in A-, Sawsbuck is really cool. So, did I have this ranked higher? Maybe A-. Sawsbuck, I had an A-. Yeah, that seems like where I would have had it. So it's cool with Swords Hand. This is also a pretty decent gem user, like normal gem. or Grass Gem can both like really get a big hit off on something. Like a normal gem double edge, like nothing's gonna take that hit unless if it's a ghost type, because it's obviously not gonna take anything from it. But like if you use double edge on a ghost type, you don't lose the normal gem either. It wouldn't activate because the move doesn't hit. But what is cool is what's it? Nature Power. Nature Power turns into Earthquake, but it's also not an attacking move you see here. It's like a status move, Nature Power. So you can get past Sucker Punch from Kangaskhan and Sucker Punch from Skuntank by using this move, and you're gonna nuke a Skuntank with a Earthquake that's not technically an attack. So also takes on Alomomola really well. Has Zap Sipper. Can take on Serperior pretty well, actually, because Serperior's going to run either Hidden Power Ground or Hidden Power Rock. That's not going to do a ton to you. You do have to watch out for like getting a bunch of spikes, especially having Life Orb. Like, you're going to get worn down really quickly, but Horn Leech can recover some HP. Kangaskhan can still fake out you at least to somewhat revenge kill, but Sawsbuck is like a cool like anti-meta type of Pokemon. Tauros is one of the fastest mons out there, being faster than Charizard, which is really nice. Life Orb, Sheer Force, Rock Climb, you want to run. Earthquake, they hit rock types, Zen Headbutt. I like to hit, you can hit Gurdurr, I guess a little bit harder, but to hit the Misdreavus is really what it's there for, to Twig KO it. You can run Rock Slide to hit Mandibuzz. I believe Rock Slide to KOs Mandibuzz after Rocks, or Rock Climb is a roll too. But Sub is also really nice in this set. You could also run Toxic, I suppose, to hit Alomomola or something on the lines of that. But fast mon. It's not faster than Serperior, unfortunately, but it's faster than just about anything else in the meta. So it's nice in that type of role. The B-ranked mon, Camerupt. I wouldn't have ranked Camerupt this high. I gave it B-. Doesn't really beat any other Stealth Rockers. Doesn't beat Samurott. It takes on Charizard pretty well. Also takes on Rotom Frost because they're going to... It takes on okay anyway, and like Rotom Fan because they're going to run Hidden Power Grass and Hidden Power Water. So Camerupt is pretty good if there's like a lot of usage in those mons. Then Camerupt can fulfill a niche there. Driftblim I had at where did I have it ranks? Driftblim I had it B+. It could even maybe be A-, but Driftblim is cool. I can show you what a couple of the sets would be that I would probably run. So has Acrobatics, so it's going to be 110 base power. Well, Flying Gem makes it 1.5 times stronger, right? And then after that, you're going to have a 110 base power move. But what's nice about that is you're going to activate Unburden. So you're going to outspeed everything in the meta. You're not going to outspeed Sucker Punch, though, which is definitely unfortunate with this set, but you can kind of get by that with Substitute and Will-O-Wisp to potentially burn Skuntanks and Kangaskhan's to make them not as effective. And then Destiny Bun to trade for a kill there. You could, if you want to trade your Driftblim for a Skuntank or a Kangaskhan, it's a pretty reliable way to do so. And I guess you can run Sub-Disable sets fine. You could also run this set with, Ghost Gem, Calm Mind, and you're going to deal pretty decent damage that way. You can run like an Electric Gem to maybe get past Skuntank and Mandibuzz with Thunderbolt. And maybe you want to run plus Speed Nature. I guess Modest is fine on special attacking sets. Physical, you probably want to run Jolly there. Also takes fighting hits, obviously. It's not going to take Ice Punch from Primeape that well, but if it's locked in an Ice Punch, then you can Revenge Kill. We didn't talk about Primeape, did we? I totally skipped over that, but yeah. So Driftblim, it's cool because it has Unburden and Gems, so you can get double speed. And Destiny Bond or Will-O-Wisp and basically trade itself one-on-one and takes fighting hits well. Primeape, that's definitely a pretty big mon. This is like the best Choice Scarf user in the gen, and this is an A-ranked one. I might have had it A+. I had Primate ranked as A. Okay. But still really solid. U-turn, close combat, Ice Punch, and then I definitely run Punishment as the last move. Punishment, this is to make sure that Duosion just doesn't beat you. It's a base 60 power move and gets stronger, which each stat boost the opponent has. So you can get past Calm Mind. You can get past Calm Mind Serperior, I guess, but close combat, you're probably going to Revenge Kill unless it's at max HP. But mainly Revenge Kills Duosion, which is nice for a fighting type. You can run something like Fist Plate Encore. They're pretty annoying sets as well, especially because you almost always imagine Primate being scarfed. It can run Banded too, but it not having Mold Breaker, it just doesn't get past as much stuff as Sawk does. So I'd probably... Primate is really like a Choice Scarf bot. But adding Sawker too, really meta-defining Mons. Doesn't really get past... you can run Earthquake, I guess, to hit Garbodor, but you just U-turn out and go into something that takes it on better. You don't want to be locked in an Earthquake if you don't have Mold Breaker. Like, Misdreavus just is too easy of a counter for you there. And I guess that's also another reason around Punishment. You can Revenge Kill. Ask about Misdreavus with Punishment better in that regard. Okay, back to Executor. Executor, I had a B+2. Sleep Patter, sleep moves are not banned in NU. They are banned in PU, I believe. But yeah, because sleep mechanics in Generation 8 make you stay asleep the 1 to 3 turns on switching back in. Doesn't matter if you use rest, doesn't matter if someone used sleep patter on you. You're always going to be asleep at least 1 turn. You can't burn sleep turns. That counter's always going to reset. So that's why sleep is like really tough to deal with. And that's why Executor is really good. It can run Specs, but doesn't really get past Mandibuzz or Skuntank that well. But like Specs Leaf Storms does a lot of damage to Skuntank anyway. You can also run sub Leech Seed sets with Harvest and Citrus Berry. Definitely pretty annoying to take down if you have like a sub Leech Seed. Psychic and Giga Drain, or you can run Protect. It really depends. You're going to be wearing a lot of Mons dead. You can't really set up on Executor. You have to like deal with them on. Golem. Golem is nice that it can take on... I have it at A-. It's nice that it takes on Kangaskhan as well as Regirock, but it's also a ground type, so that way Electric can't spam Volt Switch. It also has Sturdy to guaranteed live a hit. Usually Golem will run like Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Rock Blast to get past the Braviary too. Explosion or Sucker Punch, depending if you have Custap Berry or normal gem. You could just run Leftovers as well on this set. The Golem, nice rocker. Doesn't really beat Seismitoad. I guess you can run like Ground Gem plus Sucker Punch to maybe beat other rockers like Seismitoad. You're not going to get past Piloswine, I don't think, no matter what, with Golem. Gorbis. Gorbis is a Shell Smash user. What I like to run is it this? I think this is a set I usually like to run. You could substitute on like Alomomola and set up Shell Smashes, and then Bug plus Water hits like the most of the gen for pretty decent damage. You could also run like a normal set with Ice Beam and Hidden Power Grass. And does nice damage, but you don't outspeed, as I showed earlier, don't outspeed Choice Scarf Rotom Fan or Rotom Frost, which is really unfortunate. Because otherwise I think this would be a lot scarier of a setup sweeper. I don't think, what is the recommended set for Gorbis? Life Orb, Signal Beam. Okay, it is that set. I guess Life Orb can also work for like Toxics and such. Also cool for sub to like set up on potential, like if something has T-Wave or something wants to like deal some type of status before like letting you set up to make sure you don't win. Lumberry is nice in that regard. Life Orb also to deal a lot of damage. Yeah, Gorbis is cool. It cannot pass a speed boost, but it could pass a lot of other things like Iron Defense. It has a lot of moves like Amnesia. It can't pass Agilities. But it has, is it listed here? Okay, yeah. It has Baton Pass. It can pass a lot of things. So that's something to watch out for. Ludicolo, B+, man. This used to be one of the scariest mons in the meta. I had it at A-. I guess it's tough for Ludicolo to really get going. And, like, Skuntank, being as prevalent as it is, Kangaskhan can fake out Sucker Punch it. Makes it tough, but, like, it's a really tough mon to switch into if it has a Rain Dance up. Hydro Pump, Giga Drain, Ice Beam if you want to Surf and not miss, I guess. But this does like a ton of damage. Not a lot of walls really want to take it. Like Miltank isn't that common. Audino isn't that common. Like these three moves hit hard, but it kind of seems tough for it to really get going. And there's enough priority to like make sure it doesn't get more than one kill. But you got to watch out. You want to make sure your team doesn't lose to Ludicolo. Miltank. Miltank can take on Charizard pretty nice because of Thick Fat. Can run like max HP with Stealth Rock, Miltank, Body Slam, and Heal Bell, or Toxic, or whatever you want to run on the 4 slot there. You could also run Special Defensive Curse sets, but with all the fighting types out there, it kind of seems tough. But you can run like Curse, Miltank, Body Slam, Heal Bell. Like that could be another set that could be run as well. You could probably run, there's probably like a max speed Miltank set, which I would never recommend, but it's probably somewhere on here with like Zap Zipper to take grass moves. I guess it's a good Serperior enter as well. Yes, that's I would say this is the best Miltank set there. This could be okay, but you really need to make sure you take on fighting. Okay, they're the only two. Okay, this set is not even listed. Perfect. Roselia. Where do I have Roselia? It takes on Ludicolo actually pretty well, and it also takes on Serperior maybe a little bit better than Garbodor because the special defense is higher and like Sludge Bomb's a guaranteed hit. I have it as a B mon. Like Garbodor just almost outclasses it in every way. It doesn't really care about Scald Burns either from Serperior, which is nice. I believe there's also a legality issue with something with Roselia. I believe it can run Sleep Hatter and something. I don't remember what it is. Maybe it's Sleep Hatter and Toxic Spikes. I'm not sure, but it sets up spikes like Garbodor, but it's slower, doesn't take on fighting types. Like, even if you're max HP, max defense, like, you're not really taking on a banded Sawk close combat that well. So, like, that's why, like, Garbodor is nice to have that as, like, also a defensive threat, unlike Roselia, which it can take on Serperior well, but there's enough mons that can revenge kill or take on Serperior fine enough that, including Garbodor, that I probably wouldn't run Roselia in most instances. But it takes gold, which is nice. And it has Sleep Powder, which is also a thing. Swallow. I'm surprised it fell this low, but I mean, I would have been surprised, but like, not really. I have it at A-, but Swallow, it doesn't have Boom First yet, I don't believe. That's Generation 6, but it's the fastest mon in the meta outside of anything Choice Scarf, but Protect, Facade, Brave Bird, and U-Turn, or you can run a Quick Attack over Protect. Depends on the situation there. It hits hard with base 85 attack with Guts, but like rocks are just so prevalent, and ghost types are there. Again, there's Sucker Punch from Skuntank, Gurdurr, Mach Punch, like, and you're always gonna run like a Scarf on a team that's gonna outspeed Swallow, so it really seems tough for it to like, get going. Kind of like Ludicolo, like Falling from Grace, like it hit really hard if it's set up, but it's kind of hard for it to really set up either. And yeah, I guess you'd run Toxic Orb because it does less damage for the first hit. Yeah, that's Swallow there. Zangoose, feel like it's in a similar role. It's taking damage to really be strong, and it's super strong, especially like at least with close combat. Unlike Swallow, you can get past fighting or like rock types. There's not really steel types in the gen, so you don't have to worry about that. But rock types like Regirock, like Swallow doesn't get past at all. At least Zangoose can get past them, but again, seems tough to get going and just run Tauros for something fast and hit strong, or run Kangaskhan that can fake out stuff, or even just run Sawk that like just hits really hard and doesn't have to take that damage and has a little bit more defensive versatility than Zangoose does. And Swallow. At Swallow, you're taking 50% or 25% plus toxic damage. Like, that's a lot of damage to rack up over time. But not really want to switch into it if you can get it in. But you have to make sure you run Night Slash, where you're going to get followed by like any ghost type. Something like that, or Swords. You'd probably want Sword Stance over Night Slash, and I think just these 4 attacking moves are good with Zangoose with Toxic Boost. Electabuzz, it's an interesting Scarf for the add speeds. Charizard, I don't think it's that bad. I probably wouldn't run it for anything. I don't think I'd run it Violate, because if I wanted to run like a bulkier electric, I would just run a Eelektross. Yeah, I mean, that can be fine, especially with Focus Blast to hit the bulky normals, and like Rock type's fine, but again, I think Eelektross does all these things better. And it's immune to ground, unlike Electabuzz. Fracture, there aren't any steals. We haven't even seen a steel type yet. So like Fracture can be fine, and there's no fairy type, so dragon moves are really free, but it's just slow. And it's gonna be hard to get a big hit off with it. Regice is weak to rocks. It's very especially bulky, which is nice. Ice Beam and Thunderbolts, there's not going to be a lot that takes it, but again, being weak to rocks, being weak to like a lot of them, like all the fighting types, and all the physical threats that are out there, it seems like tough for Regice to really do stuff. But I guess you'd probably run like a Rock Polish set. A tank, yeah, that set doesn't seem good. Something like this, I think, could be okay. But you're not going to outspeed Rotoms, but I guess that's fine. But you're not going to outspeed Scarf Primeape with this set. And that's going to just kill you. Tangela, nice physically defensive wall. It could take Sawk hits fine, too. It seems pretty passive. I don't really see where I'd run this over Serperior. It's more physically defensive. I'd probably run Torterra over Tangela anyway. Tangela seems like a pretty tough mon to fit on, but especially with spikes, you're going to get worn down. Regenerator is not going to help a ton if there's going to be spikes and rocks in the field. Torterra, I think it's a pretty cool stealth rocking option, and a potential. It could also be a Rock Polish set. Again, that's going to get revenge killed by either the Rotoms or even Primeape with Ice Punch. But Torterra, as long as Piloswine doesn't run Ice Skull Crash, it's not that bad. And it hits the Seismitoad for pretty decent damage. So it's an okay rocker. It's not going to beat Golurk with Ice Punch, though, unless you're Yachi Berry. And so, like, Torterra can be like an anti-lead type of style rocker. I have it at B. And I think it's fine to stay in that tier. It can be also like physically bulky enough and with recovery. So maybe Torterra could be a little bit higher, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really beat Mandibuzz unless you have Toxic, and then you have Toxic Synthesis. You want Rocks, like, and it doesn't like Garbodor can set up like at least a couple spikes unless you're like an offensive Torterra. So yeah, maybe Torterra can fit a little better in this meta than I would have imagined, because it beats a lot of the top ranked mons like Alomomola. Like if your Sword Stance Torterra can get by, like you can get by a pretty decent amount of things in the top ranks. But like you're gonna be weak to something if you're gonna be taking on like a specific mon. Yeah, maybe Torterra should be higher. Wartortle, that's our best rapid span removal option. It's not even a PU mon. It's ranked NU. Yeah, it seems pretty tough to bring. It's like fairly bulky, but pretty passive. At least you have like Scald to like get burns, and like that's fine. But even like I guess you have foresight to get past like Misdreavus rapid spin blocking, but like unless you're running like Charizard and Swallow, like it seems pretty tough to bring. But it's also nice to remove hazards. But you're almost never going to see Wartortle on like a actual competitive team. You want to just make sure the hazards don't go up in the first place. Weezing is a cool fighting resist, especially to Primate, but Sawk has Mold Breaker for Levitate, which makes it kind of tough, but I think Weezing's pretty cool. It also has Will-O-Wisp to burn Sawks, so that's definitely an option there. I don't know what a Weezing set. It'd probably just be like physically defensive with maybe Pain Split. Will-O-Wisp, Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, Haze. Yeah. Just run Garbodor. Swellows, same with Fracture. I think Swellows has more viability. I probably would have ranked Swellows like A- or B+. I have it ranked as B+. Yeah, so Swallows is going to be weak to fighting types, but it's a really nice special defensive check, especially because most things aren't going to run hidden power ice. But even like this mon like takes ice beams from like Ludicolo with not that much issue. 50%, that's a decent amount of damage. If you run like max, then it's not going to be a 2-hit KO, and you can phase it out. But yeah, Rest, Sleep Talk, Roar, Dragon Tail, kind of similar to the Circle Throw, Roar, Kangaskhan set I mentioned earlier, but with probably a better defensive spread than Kangaskhan, and with the Violate, it's going to be a lot bulkier. So it can be kind of tough to take down. Obviously, fighting types destroy it. Rotom Frost is an option, but like it's a special defensive evolved spell. Is pretty cool. Altaria, it could be Specs. Yeah, Specs. Even though like Altaria special attack, I think is 70. Yeah, it's 70, but I think Choice Specs is the best set because there's no Fairy types and really no Steel types. We still haven't seen a Steel type yet, so like it's gonna hit for some damage, but it's not taking a lot of hits and it's weak to rocks, so it kind of seems tough. Combuskin, you probably would have run Protect. I mean, this would be Life Orb or Violate, I guess, but probably Protect, Sub, Focus Blast, and Fire Blast. Like, this could do pretty decent damage if it gets set up, but you have to rely on inaccurate moves, and if you get +1 speed boost, even +2 speed boost, you're still at speeding some mon. So seems tough, and just run like Primate or Sawk because you're fighting type. Floatzel is cool. I'm gonna rank this higher too. Floatzel, I have it at C. Man, why do I hate this mon? I guess because Samurott usually does everything better, but less special attack too, but it's faster. It's also faster than Serperior, which is nice to get a big ice beam off. Also has Taunt to prevent rocks. You could use this as a lead, I guess, but just run Samurott. But yeah, it's cool that Floatzel has the speed that it does. And I guess Water Veil to not get burned, it's a plus. You can run like Taunt Toxic to like beat Alomomola, I guess. Kadabra is cool because it has pretty high special attack, 120. There's not many mons that have higher special attack, and I think I said that about Executor too. No, I said that about Haunter. Yeah, they both kind of work similar in that regard, but Haunter has a little bit more defensive versatility than Kadabra, but what's nice about Kadabra is you have Magic Guard, and you can run Focus Sash, like guaranteed you're going to live one hit, and deal, like, kill any fighting type in return. You could also run Life Orb, but I think I'd run Focus Sash just to make sure you're not taking any chip damage and always live one hit. Does it get Thunder Wave? It does, but I'd probably just run like Psychic or Psyshock, Shadow Ball, or Signal Beam, something like that. So Kadabra, cool in that regard. All right, Leopard. Man, so that's another one I want to talk about too. This is a neat mon, but really fell from grace too. I had it ranked as B. But most people ranked it lower than I probably raised the average up to B-. I think people rated it pretty low, but Leopard is cool. Black Glasses, U-Turn, Sucker Punch, Pursuit, Thunder Wave, something like that. Or you can run Encore. it has priority, so you could have priority Thunder Waves, which is great to neuter a threat. Encore to get like Serperior into Calm Minds, and then you can U-turn and gain momentum that way. I don't even know what this adjusted set would be. I mean, the mon is down in B- because Skuntank exists, but if that mon didn't exist, I think Leopard would have a ton more usage. Okay. Yeah, Pursuit and Ice Slash can also work on the set. It could also set up Rain Dances and Sunny Days, yeah, because of Prankster, like that in Regirock. You have Bulkiness, Volbeat too, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I really like this mon a lot. It's also faster than base 100s. You want to run max speed anyway, just for U-turn momentum and such. But yeah, this is a cool mon to get fast on the raise off on. But unfortunately, Skuntank exists, which can taunt and has a lot more bulk and more attack. Yeah, it's just tough. But I like Leopard a lot. And it absorbs T-Spikes, unlike Leopard. Metang, the first steel type we see, I really don't know what it would do, to be honest. Toxic, yeah. Good. It would take on a Kangaskhan fine, I guess. You probably want, like, I guess Meteor Mash would do enough damage to, like, a fighting type. Would be nice to have Zen Headbutt, maybe, in those rolls. And Toxic is fine to get down most walls. Bullet Punch for priority, but, like, you're not doing a ton with this mon. Muck, I don't even know what set I would recommend for this, but just run Garbodor. Maybe it's like like a Poison Touch set is cool with Poison Jab, 50% chance to get poisoned, but it seems like a pretty niche mon. Explosion and Shadow Sneaker are cool. Pinsir has the same attack and speed as Sawk, but and has Mold Breaker too. I guess you could do Earthquake on this set, but Sawk at like fighting types it's a better defensive typing than Bug. Bug, you're getting hit by rocks. I guess you could use it as a stealth rocker. It's faster than all the other ground types we mentioned. So it has that niche, but doesn't really beat any of those ground types either. Like Close Combat's going to do nothing to Piloswine. I guess you can Earthquake against Garbodor setting up spikes, but they're going to set up spikes on you. Don't really see where you would use Pinsir. Maybe as like a Scarfer, but just use like Braviary or Primeape or something like that. Quick Attack, I guess, is fine, but I probably wouldn't use Pinsir. Probopass, a steel type that could trap other steels, which is Metang, I guess. This would be interesting to see what the Probopass set would. Probably just like a special attacking Volt Switch set, but Power Gem, Toxic, Volt Switch, that's a pretty pathetic set. Special defensive, it's fine, but like I guess it takes on Rotom Fan pretty well. Rotom Frost, I guess Blizzard is going to do okay damage, but takes on that fine. So if you want like a special defensive pivot into those, it's okay. But and if you don't want to rely on like Seismitoad getting hit by Hidden Power Grass or something, then Probopass can work in that regard. But Audino or Miltank can also work as like a special defensive sponge like that. That I think does a little bit more. I'd probably just use Miltank over this set, but it gives you momentum, so that's an option there. That's trapping set for nothing. For the Skull of V meta, makes sense. Scraggy, it's a dark type, so it's cool to be like Duosion and Musharna, but you really need it's a normally Scraggy would run it. Bulk up, Rest, and Rest is nice on this set because of Shed Skin. You could just wake up and get healed up to full. Drain Punch and Crunch. Like this set can be fine, but it has pretty low defenses, so you have to get a decent amount of boost up. You could just run Gurdurr. It's probably going to be better, but it is nice to have the dark typing to beat like Misdreavus. I guess Misdreavus Shadow Ball does decent damage to Gurdurr, but it can beat Duosion and Musharna, which I guess is fine. Shiftry probably should be a little bit higher. Especially, it's pretty cool with gems. I had it at B. It's a decent speed tier. Like Serperior is just faster, but Shiftry has Sucker Punch, which is enough of a niche there to make it actually useful. You can run Sword Stance. You can run mix attacking sets. Leaf Storm, Sucker Punch, Dark Pulse, Nature Power. Another way to get past Skuntank is cool, but you are slower than it if it's going to be running max speed Jolly, so not the best there. Sword Stand sets can work fine, but Sawk's going to add speed anyway. Primeape's going to add speed and Revenge kill you. Add +2 Sucker Punch isn't going to kill either of them. But if it is weakened, then it can, so you just have to watch out for that. But Shifter can be okay, but not the best. Simipour, slower than Floatzel and weaker than Samurott. So if you want something that's faster than Samurott and a little bit stronger than Floatzel, then I guess Simipour is your bet. Outspeeds Charizard, so that's something. Victory Bell, decent Sun Sweeper. Sun's pretty niche in and of itself. I guess outside of like Fire Blast from Charizard, and Sawsbuck, I guess like can get the chlorophyll. Like there's not a ton of mons that are gonna be ran in Sun. You'd have to run Victory Bell, and it can be fine in that regard. It has Sleep Powder, which is a pretty good move in growth to potentially set up sweep. So yeah, something like this can definitely work on a set. And it has Sucker Punch for priority. Vileplume, it soaks up T-Spikes. It could aromatherapy. So if you need a cleric on a team, Vileplume can work over like a Garbodor, I suppose. Does Vileplume take 2 banded hits from Sawk? If it does, then it makes it a lot better. It does. So that's not bad. And it has Expects for it to, if you have like U-turn Primeape, make sure it's going to be not that spammable. Where did I have Vileplume in the rank? Maybe it should be a little bit higher. I had a C+. Well, I guess Roselia is also an option. Garbodor is just an option to run and get spikes up because spikes are so free. But Vileplume's not bad. Volbeat is there to get Sun. It has Prankster, T-Way similar to Leopard, U-turn, has Baton Pass, Volbeat, or Tail Glow, Baton Pass. That can be an option if you want it to be. Moonlight, I guess, but you can pass a couple stats, but I think the main use is going to be priority Sun. And then you could even like run no speed and try to get like a slow U-turn off. That's not bad, but I'd run Leopard or Regirock as a Sunny Day user over Volbeat. C plus or C is now we're getting to really niche ones. Audino, a decent special attack or special defensive wall. Fighting types are there, so it's gonna be tough for it to last, but Audino can work. Bastiodon can work pretty well on Stall. Not that Stall is super common, but it can work as your rocker on Stall. Has Magic Coat to make sure like status isn't going to be passed in the team, and Garbodor doesn't set up a ton of spikes. So, and also like make sure you can taunt if you're against like a Mandibuzz is going to taunt you turn 1. You can Magic Coat the taunt back, and then get up your rocks. So that's not the worst. Cacturn could probably be ranked a little bit higher than this. Where did I have it ranked? I had it at C. It's a spiker. It's kind of slow. Shiftry is faster, and Garbodor is like more versatile, but Cacturn can take water hits. So like against Seismitoad, it's a pretty good lead against Seismitoad if Seismitoad's getting more usage. So you can run Cacturn in that regard. Cradily, I probably had at like B. Where do I have Cradily on this list? I had it at B. It's a good Kangaskhan answer. It could also, because it doesn't take water hits, a good water absorb user. Like Samurott could take on okay, but it's got to watch out for +2 Mega Horn or Ice Beam or whatever. But it could take on some top tier threats like all right. Doesn't really get past Serperior, unfortunately. It can get toxed by Alomomola, so it's not going to really beat those mons either, but it's okay. What would be like a Cradily set? Like Rocks Recover and Dual Stab? Yeah, that's fine. Or Toxic on the set. You can run Curse. That kind of seems tough. Golbat, it's a pretty cool fighting check. Doesn't take ice punches that well from Sawk, but Golbat is neat. And it has momentum, and it's faster than Weezing if you wanted to use Weezing in a similar role, but it's hit by rocks. So it's getting chipped down a pretty decent amount and doesn't have leftovers. But it's a cool faster taunt user than Mandibuzz, I guess. But Mandibuzz you can run max speed with. Golbat you probably want to run max defense, and then you're not outspeeding as much. Clang can be annoying if you're not prepared for it. But there's fighting types out there, but if you the set's gonna be rest, sleep talk, shift gear, and gear grind. Okay, it's just a pivot. That's PU. Yeah, so a set like this, it can be annoying if you're not ready for it. It beats like Skuntank. It has like taunt, but shift gear, like gear grind's gonna do decent damage to Skuntank at +1. Definitely to a KO. Serperior, Musharna, I guess Duosion to an extent. Like, it can take on a decent amount of things, but there's enough fighting types and ground types that should neutralize it. Lapras, cool special attacker, kind of slow and weak and gets hit by rocks. Slow as well, so not helping it in that cause, but it's a water absorb mon, so it also takes like Seismitoad if that's more popular. Samurott, I guess it takes on alright. Licky, also a fat normal. It can sword stance up. It can also curse. What's nice about Aldino is at least Regenerator kind of negates the spikes in regards. That way it doesn't have to like stay in and protect all the time and get wishes up. But Licky has Dragon Tail, which Aldino doesn't have, so it's not as passive. Choice Banded Explosions. Seems cool, but I don't think I'd run that. Lanoon, it's Belly Drum set. I haven't really seen it much use at all, but in theory it seems like it could work. But there's an extreme speed I believe is +2 priority. So yeah, so you'd be outspeeding even like Sucker Punch and such, I believe, right? +2 priority, Skuntank. I believe Sucker Punch is also +2 speed. +1 priority, okay. So yeah, extreme speed outspeeds the Sucker Punch at least. Yeah, maybe there's just enough things that just seem hard for it to take on. There's also Ghosts, and I guess Shadow Claw does fine damage to them, but you want to run on enough speed to not get burned by like Misdreavus, and it looks like this set, at least this set's going to run more bulk, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get a Billy Drum off in the first place. Yeah, Lanoon been interesting. You need a lot of team support, but I could see that one working. Maybe better than C+. Mantine, weak to rocks, doesn't really take fighting type hits, seems tough. Simisage, Shiftry I think is just better as like a physical or mixed attacking grass type option with the dark type attached to it. But Simisage can run Rock Slide and outspeed Charizard, so that's cool. Swanna is a cool mon. A cool speed tier. Pretty frail though, but Life Orb, Surfs, and Hurricanes, not a ton really wants to switch into that. So, and you can run Toxic and Rest, or Rain Dance and Rest to like make sure status doesn't beat you. Swan is a cool mon, but doesn't really have a defensive niche, which is the downside, and it's weak to rocks. And like Swallow is faster if you wanted to run like a strong, fast, normal type, or you just run like Scarf Rotom. Throw, you would run as a circle throw threat with Garbodor spikes. That could definitely work, and I think it's pretty decent. I'd probably rank Throw higher than what is listed here. I had it at B-. Yeah, sure. I think with spikes Throw could be a little bit better. Ursaring, it could you probably want to run Guts. On this set, you can run Quick Feet, but I think Guts and just a really strong breaker is better. But Zangoose and Swallow are both faster. Okay, this actually says Quick Feet is the set. Swallow still outspeeds this, but I guess you hit Steel and Rock types that Swallow wouldn't hit. So that's why you would run it in that regard. Vigoroth, it's a taunt user. Taunt bulk up and should outspeed Misdreavus, which is cool, but I don't think you can really hit it in return, and there's enough fighting types that you're not going to be taking many hits even at +1. Yeah, this would be a set, and you just get... I guess if you're max speed, you could beat ghost types with Toxic with this set, just with max speed and Toxic stall amount. Bulk up sets, you're going to lose to ghost types, but you can trap them with Skuntank, so... Not bad, but enough fighting types out there that makes it tough. Zebstrika. It outspeeds Serperior and overheats it. That's like the niche that it has. It's very weak otherwise. Alomomola, the second best rapid spin user, I guess. Yeah, Alomomola has never really been seen as a good mon. It has, you think it has cool stats, but like it just doesn't really perform. Articuno, you get hit by rocks. It's pretty bulky, but on the special side, but getting hit by rocks is tough. Basculin hits really hard with adaptability, but Samurott has a lot better bulk and a little bit more unpredictability. And hits harder. Well, it doesn't hit harder with Aqua Jets, but Basculin you normally want to be banded, so kind of hard to switch up moves, but it can. Basculin's okay, but it's non-stab moves are going to hit a lot weaker. Beheem, it's cool if you want a slow special breaker, like under Trick Room, the set could work really well. Like, I'd run that over Duosion or Musharna if I want, like, a Trick Room late-game sweeper with Behemoth. I could see that working pretty well. But you gotta watch out for sucker punches. Butterfree, a fast sleep. Butterfree, U-turn. I don't think you'd run... You could run Quiver Dance, I guess, but... I'd run this set. I think it's better. The dual powder set, U-turn, sleep powder, and tailwind. You can set your team up pretty well, and sleep powder is just a great move to have. Dragonair, bulky mon that doesn't have the dark typing as Velos has, so I think Velos is better in that regard. Eelektross really fast. It has signal beam to hit. Serperior probably doesn't kill it though. But if you really needed something really fast, or if you wanted like a really fast. I think it gets a screen. I don't think it gets both screens. You could use it as a rain dance setter, sure. Jump Pluff is cool because Sleep Powder is allowed, so you can run Sleep Powder with like Sleep Powder, Sword Stance, Acrobatics, and Seed Bomb. Like that set could work pretty well. Leafeon, you can run it like physically defensive. You can run it Sword Stance and like base 95. It's pretty fast, but doesn't have great coverage. Like for you would run, yeah, okay, Baton Pass. Yeah, Swords and Baton Pass makes sense. Mawile could also run Baton Pass. It could be a rocker, but you're gonna lose all the ground types, so that doesn't seem worth it. I think you'd run it as a Baton Pass user with Intimidate. Yeah, something like this would probably be the best set. I wouldn't run a Sword Stance, Sheer Force. Even though you're Steel type, you're not taking any hits really. And all the fighting types for Revenge kill you. Munchlax doesn't do anything. It phases stuff out, but I'd rather just use the Kangaskhan phasing set. Raichu, it's only base 100 speed as opposed to 110. Not that it matters a ton. There's not a ton in that between 100 and 110, but I'd rather just use Rotom Frost or Rotom Fan, have a little bit more versatility. Eelektross is bulkier. Electabuzz is faster, so I would just run all those mods over Raichu. Rampardos, it could be a Stealth Rock, Focus Sash lead, but you don't really need Mold Breaker to get past like Natsu, which I don't think is on the list. It should be, but Natsu's not on this list, so you don't really need a guaranteed Rocks up. Sneasel has knockoff, but it's really weak. So Sneasel's best like physical dark move is Punishment or Foul Play. It gets Punishment, right? Yeah, Punishment or Foul Play. So like base 60 moves or Foul Play is pretty unreliable. So not having physical dark coverage is pretty tough, especially when against Skuntank is right there. Zubat is fast and Calm Lane sets can be interesting, but Sucker Punches on enough mons that it seems tough to get set up. Torkoal can rapid spin. It can be a Shell Smash user, but I don't think it even outspeeds like much at all. Like Torkoal, I don't think it's faster than Charizard with +2 speed. Yeah, definitely doesn't get past Charizard. Base like 90s would outspeed it. It's faster than Sawk, I guess. whatever niche that gives, but I don't even... I guess you would kill with a +2 Fire Blast. Fire Blast at +2. Yeah, you would definitely kill a banded Sawk or something like that, so... but yeah, you can run defensive Torkoal, but being defensive and getting hazards off the field while taking spikes and stealth rocks is... You're not doing much to the game outside of getting rid of hazards once and then dying. Ampharos, I'd probably just run Eelektross, but it has Heal Bell if you need that niche. Frillish, Earthquake is still going to bop it by Sawk. It kind of doesn't. It's a decent chance to 2-hit KO. Yeah, so it seems tough. If you run like max, then maybe not. So, I mean, it takes on Sawk okay, but you could run you just run a Ghost type, or you can run like Driftbloom, can run a Psychic type. Misdreavus doesn't take this on much better either. Frillish has a little bit of niche, but it's like, it's pretty weak. Even though Scald hits fine. Luminease, I don't know why you would run that over Volbeat. Because you don't have Tail Glow on this. Yeah, I don't know really why you would run this Mon over Volbeat. Marowak can be a pretty strong rocker, but doesn't have really much defensive utility at all. Relicanth is slow. You can run like Rock Polish with Rockhead. But that seems really too slow. You're going to get revenge killed by all the electric and fighting types out there. I guess Banded Head Smash seems good, but just run Rampardos, I would say, if you wanted to run something like that. But I guess this has a little bit more. It has a different stab with Waterfall, which I guess can be fine. Simisear, I'd rather just run Charizard, but I guess it's faster in it. And Stunfisk, it loses to all the rockers, so it seems tough. So I took way too long, but... If you ever wanted to get any info about any Mon in NU, this is, I guess, your primer for it. You have this info. If you post random blabber, well, I'm going to be posting it eventually. But yeah, I'm going to be discussing my NUPL games for the next couple of videos, so make sure you check those battles out. It should be fun, and it was fun to talk about this tier, because you guys can tell how much I like this tier. But yeah, thank you for listening to me blabber for this long. I'm sure you didn't, unless you cut to the end, but... yeah, maybe I don't want to put timestamps for all the Mons. That would take way too long. But maybe I'll put them by tier. Maybe that sounds like a good call. But thank you for listening to my blabbering. Until next time, and until you see my NUPL games, see you later.